They laughed. They whispered behind your back, pointing, mocking, doubting. They saw you stumble, falter, and they smiled at what they thought was your defeat. But what they did not see, what they could never understand, was that every fall, every failure, every moment of despair was being woven into a story far greater than their laughter. For in the hidden chambers of life, in the silent spaces where only faith dares to tread, God was at work. He was crafting a rise they could never foresee. He was turning your weakness into strength, your pain into power, and your struggle into a stage where their eyes would one day watch in awe. And so, as the world chuckled at your missteps, you were not falling, you were preparing. Every tear, every heartbreak, every whispered word of scorn was shaping a testimony that would echo far beyond the voices of mockery. The tables will turn. The world will pause, and the very ones who laughed when you fell will stand and watch as God allows you to rise higher than ever before in ways that leave the skeptics speechless and the faithful believing once again in the impossible. They laughed. They laughed when you stumbled, when you hesitated, when the world seemed too heavy and the path too steep. Their laughter was not kind, it was not gentle. It was sharp, echoing through your moments of uncertainty like cold winds in the dead of winter. They did not see the battles you were fighting inside. They did not hear the quiet prayers that whispered through the night, the silent words of hope that no one else could hear. They only saw the fall, the mistake, the failure, and in that instant, they believed they had your story figured out. They thought they had seen the end of your journey, that they had witnessed the conclusion of your dreams. But here is the secret that the world never understands. What they laugh at, what they mock, what they scorn is often the very thing that is being used to shape your destiny. Every word of doubt thrown your way, every sneer, every whisper behind your back is a thread being woven into a tapestry far larger than their understanding. They do not see the hands at work, guiding, molding, lifting, and preparing you for the moment when the laughter will cease and the astonishment will begin. There is a strange beauty in being underestimated. Strengthening the moments where faith must be bigger than fear, where courage must outshine shame. Their laughter, their mockery, is not just an obstacle, it is a guide. It tells you where to grow, where to fight harder, where to rise stronger. And rise you will. Not by their standards, not by their expectations, not by their understanding, but by the unseen hand that orchestrates your journey, by the quiet power that moves in the background, by the destiny that cannot be silenced by laughter or scorn. When they laughed, they thought they were witnessing an end. They thought that moment defined you, but it did not. That moment was only the beginning. It was the crucible in which your strength was being tested, the furnace in which your perseverance was being refined, the shadow where your faith was being made unshakable. So when you look back and you remember their laughter, you will not feel bitterness. You will not feel anger. You will feel gratitude. Gratitude for the moments that seemed like defeat, for the people who did not believe, for the circumstances that seemed impossible. Because it was all part of the process. It was all shaping you, preparing you, guiding you toward a rise so great that their laughter will fade into silence, replaced by awe, astonishment, and the quiet understanding that they had no part in this story, but as witnesses. And the most remarkable thing is this: they never knew what they were witnessing. They laughed at the fall, not realizing that the fall was a necessary part of the climb. They thought they had seen the end, not realizing that the end was only a pause before the beginning of something far greater than they could imagine. Their laughter was loud, but your rise will be louder. Their mockery was sharp, but your triumph will be sharper. Every laugh, every doubt, every whispered word against you will serve as a witness to what faith, resilience, and divine timing can accomplish when the world cannot see the hands at work behind the scenes. There is a time for everything. A time to fall, a time to rise, a time to be humbled, and a time to be exalted. But the world rarely understands the rhythm of life, the precision of timing, the way the universe, or the hand of God, moves behind the scenes. They see a moment of struggle and assume it is permanent. They see a season of waiting and label it as failure. They hear whispers of delay and mistake patience for weakness. But divine timing does not rush. It does not hurry. It does not bend to human expectation. It moves in ways that the human eye cannot see, in ways that the heart cannot always understand, and it unfolds with a precision that leaves the skeptic speechless and the faithful in awe. You may have been waiting, praying, hoping, and wondering why the breakthrough has not come yet. You may have been searching for answers, seeking signs, looking for someone, something, anything to explain the delay. And in those quiet, restless moments, you may have felt forgotten. You may have wondered if God had moved on or if your story had been abandoned. But that is the illusion of timing seen through human eyes. What feels like delay is often preparation. What feels like silence is often movement. What feels like waiting is the very moment in which unseen forces are arranging, aligning, and orchestrating your rise. Divine timing is not random. It is not accidental. It is not left to chance or circumstance. Every setback, every challenge, every not yet is placed with purpose. It is as if the universe itself pauses, holds its breath, and waits for the perfect moment to act. And that moment is never too early, never too late, but always exactly when it is meant to be. It is the moment when your strength is ready, your character is ready, your heart is ready to carry the weight of what is coming. It is the moment when the timing of life, the timing of opportunity, and the timing of destiny converge into a single point where everything changes and everything that once seemed lost becomes unmistakably clear. Many people give up because they cannot see the invisible hand at work. Many people abandon their dreams because the world moves too slowly in their eyes. Many people despair because patience feels like weakness and waiting feels like punishment. But the truth is, divine timing requires a quiet, steady faith. It requires trust that even when nothing seems to be happening, everything is happening. It requires belief that the seasons of life are not random chapters, but deliberate steps, each one building, preparing, and positioning you for what is coming. You see, when God is involved in your journey, there is no accident. There is no coincidence. Every meeting, every setback, every whispered word of doubt from the world, every closed door, it all has its place. And all of it works together in ways that may seem mysterious, even frustrating, but ultimately perfect. It is as if a clock is ticking behind the universe, a clock whose hands are unseen but whose precision cannot be denied. And when the hands strike the appointed hour, what once seemed impossible, what once seemed delayed, what once seemed out of reach, arrives with unmistakable clarity, leaving no question that it is divine. Divine timing also teaches you the value of patience, the power of endurance, and the strength of faith. It teaches you that the moments of waiting are not wasted. The moments of struggle are not meaningless. The moments of uncertainty are not a sign of absence. They are the crucible in which perseverance is forged, the soil in which hope takes root, and the silence in which preparation grows. To trust in divine timing is to trust in the unseen, to believe in the invisible, and to understand that what comes too early may falter, what comes too late may miss, but what comes at the appointed hour will be unstoppable. Consider the life of anyone who achieved greatness, anyone who overcame the impossible, anyone who rose from the ashes of despair. Their story was never a straight line. Their journey was never immediate. There were delays, there were setbacks. There were moments when it seemed as if the world had turned its back. And yet, when the time came, when the appointed moment arrived, everything shifted, everything aligned, everything made sense. And the very people who doubted, who mocked, who laughed, could only watch in awe as what had been patiently prepared unfolded with undeniable power. So do not despise the wait. Do not curse the delay. Do not allow impatience to blind you to the forces at work. Trust that every moment, even the difficult ones, are part of a greater plan. Trust that the timing is perfect, even when it feels slow. Trust that what is coming will arrive not a day too soon, not a day too late, but at the exact moment it is meant to. And in that moment, all the struggles, all the pain, all the waiting, all the doubt, all the laughter of the world at your expense will be transformed into a testimony so powerful, so undeniable, so breathtaking, that even the skeptics will have no choice but to stand and witness the hand of God at work. Divine timing does not just bring opportunity, it brings alignment. It does not just bring success, it brings fulfillment. It does not just bring victory, it brings destiny. And it does so in a way that no human understanding can anticipate, no plan can replicate, and no force can interfere with. It is the quiet, relentless, invisible rhythm that carries you from struggle to triumph, from doubt to faith, from silence to a moment so grand that the world stops to see it. Adversity has a way of revealing what the world cannot see. It strips away the illusions, it exposes the weaknesses, and it confronts us with the rawness of life in a way that nothing else can. When everything is easy, when doors open effortlessly, when the path is smooth and the sky is clear, strength is hidden. It is untested, unproven, and often unnoticed. But adversity, the struggles, the setbacks, the moments of deep trial, adversity forces strength to emerge. It forces courage to rise when fear is screaming, perseverance to push forward when the world says stop, and faith to burn brightly when darkness threatens to swallow everything in its shadow. You see, it is in the valleys of struggle that character is forged. When you are weighed down by circumstances that seem insurmountable, when you face challenges that appear beyond your capacity, that is when hidden strength begins to grow. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, a quiet resilience that whispers in the midst of despair. You may not even notice it forming inside you. You may only feel exhaustion, frustration, doubt, or even fear, and yet beneath it all, beneath the chaos and the pain, the foundations of an unshakable inner power are being laid. Every obstacle you encounter, every difficulty that challenges your will, every setback that tests your patience carries within it the seed of strength. And like a seed planted in dark soil, it often grows in silence, unseen by the world, nurtured by persistence and watered by faith. The very forces that try to crush you, the circumstances that seem designed to break you, are the same forces that are quietly shaping you, refining you, preparing you for a rise that will leave everyone astonished. They are crafting a strength so profound, so resilient, so unstoppable, that no future obstacle can ever defeat it. Adversity teaches lessons that comfort never could. It shows you who you truly are when the applause stops and the world turns away. It reveals the depth of your endurance, the power of your hope, and the unyielding spirit that refuses to give in. It exposes the courage you did not know you possessed, the resilience you did not realize was inside you, and the faith that, when everything else fails, will not fail. It is a teacher unlike any other, harsh but wise, painful but necessary, relentless but purposeful. And in that struggle, there is a secret joy, a quiet triumph that begins long before the world ever notices. Every time you rise after falling, every time you choose to keep going despite the pain, every time you refuse to let despair define you, you are becoming stronger. You are building muscles of the spirit, forging nerves of steel, cultivating a heart that beats with unwavering courage. And the world may not see it now, may not acknowledge it today, but in time they will witness it with awe, because hidden strength is never wasted. It is never unnoticed. It always surfaces, often in ways so dramatic and undeniable that those who doubted cannot help but recognize it. Consider how adversity shapes not just the individual, but the life itself. When everything comes easily, the triumphs are fleeting and the victories are hollow. But when you rise from struggle, when you overcome the impossible, when you endure what seemed unbearable, the victory is profound. It carries a weight that cannot be ignored and polished through friction until it shines with a brilliance that cannot be dimmed. The world may try to challenge it, circumstances may attempt to defeat it, and people may laugh at it, but that hidden strength, the one formed in the heart of adversity, endures. It carries you through storms, lifts you above trials, and positions you to rise in ways that no one who doubted you could ever anticipate. Adversity also reveals the resilience of faith. When the night is darkest and the path seems impossible, the faith that refuses to yield becomes the lifeline that sustains you. It whispers to you when the world is silent. It holds you when your own strength falters, and it points to a horizon beyond the struggle, a dawn beyond the pain, a rise that is waiting, crafted perfectly by forces greater than the challenges themselves. Every difficulty becomes not just a test, but a training ground. Every trial not just an obstacle, but a stepping stone. Every moment of despair not just a shadow, but a space in which hidden strength is being illuminated. And when that moment comes, when the strength that was hidden is revealed, when the rise that was prepared in silence becomes visible in glory, the world cannot help but take notice. They will see what adversity has built, what struggle has refined, what faith has nurtured, and what courage has carried. They will watch as the one they doubted, the one they mocked, the one they underestimated, stand strong, unshakable, victorious, and undeniable. The laughter and scorn of yesterday will be replaced by astonishment, respect, and recognition, because hidden strength in adversity always surfaces, always shines, and always triumphs. There comes a moment in life when the tables turn, a moment when the laughter of those who doubted you fades, and the astonishment of those who never believed takes its place. Life has a way of bringing about reversals that are inevitable, a kind of justice woven into the very fabric of destiny. It is not vengeance, it is not coincidence. It is the natural unfolding of a story that has been guided, shaped, and prepared long before anyone could comprehend it. The world may mock, it may ridicule, it may scoff at the struggles, but there is a higher rhythm at work, a divine orchestration that ensures what has been long anticipated comes to pass in its appointed hour. For those who laughed when you stumbled, who whispered behind your back, who counted you out before your story even began, they will one day find themselves staring in disbelief. They will watch, helpless, as the very path they thought you could not navigate becomes the stage of your triumph. Their mockery will have served only to highlight the magnitude of your rise. Every sneer, every doubt, every act of scorn becomes a backdrop against which your strength, your perseverance, and your faith will shine more brightly than they ever imagined. What seemed like their victory in the moment of your fall will transform into a testament to the inevitability of your rise. Inevitable reversal is not just a promise, it is a pattern woven throughout history, seen in the lives of those who endured, those who persevered, those who refused to let ridicule define them. It is the principle that those who underestimate the power of faith, the power of resilience, and the power of patience will one day witness the astonishing truth. The very circumstances that seemed to defeat you were preparing you for a triumph far greater than they ever envisioned. Every setback, every moment of scorn, every trial that threatened to break out and sharp becomes a silent acknowledgement of the power of resilience, faith, and divine orchestration. Inevitable reversal also carries a lesson in humility and patience. It reminds you that the timing of life is not your own, that the world's judgment is not the measure of your destiny, and that the true scale of success cannot be determined by the eyes of those who do not understand your journey. Those who wait, who persevere, who endure, are the ones who are elevated in ways that defy expectation, not because they seek revenge, not because they desire recognition, but because they honor the process, trust the timing, and embrace the path with unwavering faith. And when the reversal unfolds, it will be unmistakable. It will be the moment when everything aligns, when every challenge, every obstacle, every doubt is rendered powerless in the face of what has been prepared. It will be the moment when you step into your full power, your full purpose, and the world finally sees what was always within you. Those who laugh will understand, not through words, but through witness, that their judgment was limited, their understanding flawed, and their mockery insignificant against the magnitude of what has been set in motion. The inevitability of reversal teaches us that life is never a straight path. It is a series of cycles, rises and falls, tests and triumphs, setbacks and recoveries. And those who understand this principle do not fear failure. They do not fear ridicule. They do not despair in the moments of silence or the moments of waiting. They know that what is meant for them cannot be stopped. What is prepared in the hidden seasons will emerge in its appointed hour, and what is divinely orchestrated will always reach its fulfillment. It is the quiet power behind every triumph, the unseen force behind every victory, and the eternal truth that those who remain steadfast will eventually see the inevitable reversal of their story, witnessed by all who once doubted, mocked, and laughed. Perseverance is not born in comfort. It is forged in the fire of struggle, tempered by the weight of trials, and strengthened by the refusal to give up when the world seems determined to see you fail. Every person who has achieved greatness, who has risen above doubt, disappointment, and despair, knows that the journey is never easy. There are obstacles that seem insurmountable, moments when the road disappears before your eyes, and nights when the darkness threatens to consume hope itself. And yet, the ones who persevere discover a truth that the world rarely understands, that every step forward, no matter how small, every moment of courage in the face of fear, and every act of faith in the midst of uncertainty builds a foundation for a rise that cannot be stopped. To persevere is to hold on when everyone else lets go. It is to move forward when the path seems impossible. It is to believe in something greater than what is visible, something beyond what the eyes can see or the ears can hear. It is to recognize that setbacks are temporary, that failures are lessons, and that ridicule and doubt are not the final measure of your life. Perseverance is a quiet power, a steady flame that burns when storms rage, a voice that whispers courage when the world screams despair, a force that refuses to be defeated by circumstance, criticism, or fear. Many will watch and question why you continue, why you refuse to surrender, why you do not abandon the dream that seems so far away. They will see the obstacles, the delays, the challenges, and they will assume you are wasting your time. But those who persevere know something they cannot see, that what is being built in the unseen moments, in the hours when no one applauds, in the seasons of silence and struggle, is a story that will eventually be witnessed by all. They understand that perseverance is not about immediate recognition. It is about faithful persistence, relentless effort, and unwavering belief in the destiny that is quietly unfolding. Perseverance turns weakness into strength. It turns doubt into faith. It turns setbacks into preparation. Every challenge faced with determination becomes a lesson in endurance. Every failure confronted with courage becomes a stepping stone to success, and every disappointment endured with hope becomes a foundation for triumph. The very moments that threaten to break you are the moments that shape you, the moments that stretch you, the moments that prepare you to rise in a way that is undeniable. And those who persevere discover a power within themselves that the world cannot diminish, a resilience that no trial can destroy, and a faith that no obstacle can shake. It is in perseverance that character is revealed. It is in the refusal to give up that destiny is fulfilled. The world may see only the struggle, but those who persevere see the pattern, the purpose, and the promise. They know that every delay, every closed door, every whispered word of doubt is not an end, but a part of the journey. They understand that perseverance is the bridge between where they are and where they are meant to be, the invisible force that carries them over the valleys of fear and doubt, and the steady hand that guides them toward the pinnacle of their potential. Perseverance is also contagious. It inspires others without words. It demonstrates to the world that true strength is not the absence of struggle, but the courage to keep moving forward despite it. when you continue when others quit, when you rise when others stumble, when you hold fast when others falter, you become a living example of what is possible. Your perseverance speaks louder than arguments, louder than criticism, louder than fear itself. It tells a story of hope, faith, courage, and determination that cannot be ignored, that cannot be silenced, and that will echo far beyond your own life. There will be days when perseverance feels impossible, when the weight of the world presses down so heavily that you can barely take another step. But it is precisely in those moments that perseverance matters most. It is in those moments that every small effort, every quiet prayer, every act of courage accumulates into a force that propels you forward. And when you look back, you will realize that the moments that seemed unbearable were the very moments that built the strength, wisdom, and resilience that you now carry. Those dark days, those moments of doubt, those times when the world seemed against you, were not the end of your story. They were the soil in which the seeds of your rise were planted. Perseverance is ultimately a testament to faith. It is the belief that the journey matters, even when the destination is not yet visible. It is the courage to keep walking when the road is rough, the trust to keep moving when the path is unclear, and the hope to keep believing when the world cannot see what lies ahead. And when perseverance is combined with patience, resilience, and unwavering faith, it becomes unstoppable. It carries you through every trial, over every obstacle, and toward every promise that has been prepared for you long before you understood it. And so, for anyone listening today who has faced ridicule, doubt, or disappointment, know this: your perseverance is not in vain. Your courage in the face of fear, your faith in the midst of uncertainty, your commitment to rise despite the obstacles is building something extraordinary. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward a triumph that will leave the doubters speechless, the critics silent, and the faithful inspired. Perseverance is the force that transforms struggle into strength, patience into power, and trials into testimony, guiding you toward a rise that is destined undeniable and unforgettable.